Welcome to this episode of 10 Minutes with Sam, and this is Akshat Singh. Quite true to our title, our guest for today is Mr. Sam Pitroda. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Pitroda is credited for heralding the digital and tech revolution in India under the capacity of advisor to the then Prime Minister, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. Sir, it's truly an honor to have you on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be with you.
So the format of the show is fairly simple. We have about 10 minutes and we'll try covering as much ground as possible in these 10 minutes. So my first question for you is, we couldn't have expected before COVID-19 that digitalization would happen at such a rapid pace. Now, this has created a situation wherein there is a clear ridge between digital haves and digital have-nots. What do you think we can do in order to cover the distance between the two? Because we know for sure that the digital have-nots are usually people from less privileged socioeconomic backgrounds, and they will certainly face different challenges in terms of their career or skill development later on.
Very good question.
Mm-hmm.
This has been my concern for a long time. First, I would say that we are lucky that today we have 8 billion mobile phones. For the first time in the human history, we are all essentially connected.
Mm-hmm.
This never happened before. But that doesn't mean that everybody is connected.
Mm-hmm.
We have areas, like you said, in remote locations,
mm-hmm.
poor people who don't have access to good communication. What Corona crisis also tells me that at the end of the day, there are only two important things in life. One, our planet. And two, our people. We need to focus more on planet to make sure that our environment, global warming, all these effects that we have experienced in the last are taken care of. And we need to ask broader questions like, whose Amazon jungles are these? Are these Brazilians or they are global?
Mm-hmm.
Whose Himalayan is this mountain? Is it India and China and other countries, or it belongs to humanity?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to focus on different set of priorities.
Mm-hmm.
And people, when we look at people, it means everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It means focus on inclusion,
mm-hmm.
minority,
mm-hmm.
underprivileged,
mm-hmm.
gender equality. There are a whole lot of issues, and we need to bring technology to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We have always focused on top of the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we live in an era of surplus. We can produce anything if we make up our mind. The question is, what is that we want to produce?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to produce for people who need it,
mm-hmm.
and not for people who want it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, going back to your question, we have to extend connectivity to everybody in this world to be able to take advantage of better education, better health services, better governance,
mm-hmm.
human development,
mm-hmm.
and all of that.
Let's talk about ways in which we can do this, right? And my question to you then would be, do you feel that the current policy orientation of the government of India is in line with making technology more accessible? And how do you think we can make innovation more accessible to the larger masses through policy, that is?
See, first of all, we must understand that connectivity brings about democratization,
mm-hmm.
decentralization,
mm-hmm.
and demonetization. World over today, there is a serious crisis in democracy. Whether it is in India, or in US, or in Brazil, or in Hungary, or in Turkey, I think forces are working very hard to undermine democracy, freedom, and that is antithesis to connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
You need more democratic values, more freedom, more decentralization. And what is happening in India and other countries is exactly opposite.
Mm-hmm.
More centralization,
mm-hmm.
curbing open voice,
Mhm.
vendetta, using social media to, ridicule people, use by design theories to promote lies, undermine human rights,
Mhm.
and really create an environment of one man rule. It doesn't work in a connected world. Innovation also requires decentralization, free thinking.
Mhm.
I'm sorry to say that, first thing this government did when they came to power is abolished National Innovation Council. What the government said is we don't need innovation. So I think I am very concerned about India today.
Mhm.
I'm equally concerned about US today. I'm equally concerned about world today.
Absolutely, sir. Even without the pandemic, certain tendencies in various governments, including India and the US, have been very concerning. There has been a widespread movement to throttle democracy using digital media, which was till now seen as a decentralized force working towards democracy. The hijacking of social media, as you said, people are being bullied online, and that is extremely concerning because once we have counter narratives, they're very hard to contain. So you used an interesting phrase over there, and we've heard that that is the phrase that you would be titling your new book as well. You said redesigning the world. Could you tell us about this project, about your book?
I have been thinking for many, many years about the impact of connectivity on our civilization.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent 55 years of my life on connectivity. Unfortunately, I'm an engineer and not a social scientist, philosopher, economist, so I don't have the wisdom that many people have. But from the limited experience I have had, I believe that all that is going on in the world today is antithesis to connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started thinking about what would world be if we were to rethink through the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that the world was last designed after World War II,
Mm-hmm.
predominantly led by US,
Mm-hmm.
to focus on democracy, human rights, capitalism, consumption, and military. That gave birth to UN, World Bank, IMF, NATO, WTO, GDP, GNP, per capita income.
Mm-hmm.
That design did very well for 75 years.
Mm-hmm.
That design was conceived at the time I was born.
Mm-hmm.
75 years down the road, I believe that design doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And we need a new design.
Mm-hmm.
We need a new design because lots of things have happened.
Mm-hmm.
The world got decolonized.
Mm-hmm.
Rise of China, fall of Soviet Union, demographic changes, rise of technology, 9/11, and then Corona crisis.
Mm-hmm.
How do you really think of the world going forward?
Mm-hmm.
And as I said earlier, to me, only two things matter:
Mm-hmm.
planet and people.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, when we think of redesigning today, we think of trade, markets, financial markets and geopolitics and all that. And we never think of planet and people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is time to rethink through the whole process
Mm-hmm.
and see what kind of new conversation we can have.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this book is about.
That sounds very interesting, sir. Especially the comparison between the Second World War and the pandemic as being events of equal magnitude, which can herald in an era of change, which, the world has been craving for a very, very long time. And we're looking forward to reading your book, sir. Thank you so much for sitting with us today and for being with us for this interview. And it was lovely speaking with you. And whenever you have the time in the future, we'd love to speak with you again, sir.
Well, I'm always available. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
As I told you, Tarun is an old friend. I respect him a lot. And I wish you all the best. And I'm always available to share ideas.
Thank you so much, sir.